Hey there, Saguto golfers. Today we are talking about Tiger Woods and his early golf swing from the 2000s, the one he was winning a ton with. But it's also the one that caused him to have some injuries later in his career. It's really important that you know this about his early golf swing. Tiger Woods' early golf swing is built on the concept of resistance, meaning you resist to create power. And this is about 40 years worth of golf instruction where you're being taught to keep the trail leg flexed and locked in the backswing, lift your arms to the top, and then drop the club in the slot on the downswing. Those three motions require a lot of timing to master, thousands of balls a week. Most of us don't have that time. Tiger Woods had that time, and that's why he was so good. He could maintain his swing on that level. But it's very difficult to master that. When you look at Tiger Woods' golf swing, you'll see that he keeps this trail leg so locked in the backswing, and what happens is you have no choice but to lift your arms high. You create a ton of resistance in this trail side, meaning that I feel it from my knee up through my lower back here. And it's no surprise that when you do that repeatedly for 10 years or more, you're going to have some back issues. In fact, I had back issues from swinging the Tiger Woods way. I know a lot of you have copied Tiger Woods' golf swing. Who wouldn't? Because you want to be good at golf. Tiger Woods is good at golf. Let's copy Tiger Woods. The idea of flexing this knee was to create power. The more I could turn my upper body over a stiff lower body, the more resistance I feel, this coiling of a rubber band. The more coiling, the more power I have, that whip into the golf ball. Well, here to tell you that's not necessarily the case. You don't have to do any of that. You can hit the ball farther by allowing the body to turn, because you can take the club back farther with no effort and still have tons, if not more, swing speed. But this is early 2000s golf instruction for you in a nutshell. So if you're one of those people who got lessons like this in the early 2000s, this is going to save your life. So this flexing, lifting, places a lot of stress on the lower knees here. When we look at all the tension he's placing on his body here in the backswing, he then, in the downswing, works on turning his hips as hard as possible and snapping his lead knee. So you're looking at placing a lot of stress on the body in 3 seconds of time. And just imagine doing that to your body, shot or shot, thousands of balls and more. Practice, play, practice, play. Tiger Woods' case, that's a lot of golf balls. That's a lot of stress on the body. Here's my attempt at the old Tiger Woods golf swing. This is the swing I grew up learning. Keep this leg flexed, get the arms high, drop the club in the slot, hit the ball. This is a 5-iron. Let's do it again. It's been a while since I've done this. Really resisting everything I can. I can feel that stress right through my lower back. Whew. It's a lot of stress on the knees and the back. Don't do this. Okay, hopefully you get my point. All that resistance is tearing up my body. It's no surprise that he switched up his golf swing when he went to Sean Foley and turned more into allowing his body to turn, getting more hip turns, straightening the trail leg, and also getting the club to travel more around the body instead of lifting the arms up. This made the golf swing so much more repeatable and less reliant on timing. Because if I have to hit a golf ball by shifting into the trail leg, lifting, dropping the club, and then hitting, I have to coordinate that with timing. There's no telling. I have to be lucky. I have to be Irish for one, and I'm not. But if you can get your backswing at a point where it's effortless on the body, meaning you allow the body to turn, so you're freeing up the trail leg to straighten, taking the stress off of this area through the lower back. Also gets the club in the slot in the backswing, so you're already there. There's no need to drop the club. You just simply send it back to the ball. When we look at swinging the new Tiger Woods way, we allow the hips to turn, we allow the trail leg to straighten. That gets the club magically in the slot here in the backswing, so no need to drop the club, no lifting and dropping. It's already there, so just send it back to the ball. It's very simple, repeatable, requires almost no maintenance. You could go 3 weeks without hitting a golf ball, come right back where you left off. It's a beautiful thing. What I'm going to do here is just demonstrate the freeing up of the trail leg, which is the natural turning of the hips straight into the trail leg, helps me to get the club going inward. It's very simple. That makes life a lot easier. So let's go inside and take a look at Tiger Woods' old swing and his new swing, and I'll show you how you can help your game improve and be a lot more body friendly. Okay, we've got old Tiger Woods on the left side, new Tiger Woods on the right side. Pay attention to the way his knees work in the backswing for the old and new swing. I'm going to draw a red line representing their current knee flex at address. And we're going to look for that to change in the new swing. In the old swing, don't expect it to change very much. So old swing all the way to the top. He's really restricting that trail side to create a lot of resistance. And what we see here is minimal change in knee flex, if any. Just a little bit. New swing, you're going to see the trail knee automatically move more inward because the hips are turning more than in the old swing. So by the time he gets to the top of his backswing here, we see a change in knee flex that's considerably different than the swing on the left. The swing on the right is going to be more friendly on the body as a result. You want to see this in your golf swing too. If your knees are not changing flex, you're putting stress on the back and the knees that you don't need to be putting there. Another thing to pay attention to is the top of backswing positions. Look at the way the club is positioned at the top of his swing on the left. Hands are above the shoulder line, and the arm is also above the shoulder line. Whereas on the left, the hands are more behind the right shoulder, and the arm is more on the shoulder line. When taking a look at these two swings, the player that will be more consistent is actually the one on the right, because he doesn't have to drop the club in the slot like he does on the left. You'll see that the first move for him on the left is to get the club in a position to hit. So the club is very steeply angled to the ground here. So he's got to drop the club at least a foot or so. The club's really moving down. He's pulling that club down toward the ball. And the club's approaching through his upper middle part of his back. So it's a little sharper angle to the ground. Whereas here, we're going to see a shallower angle of attack. And these are the same clubs. The club's going through more the mid-back area, approaching the ball. A little bit shallower, and it's easier for him to be consistent from this position because he doesn't drop the club like he was on the left. He's not pulling the club down to the ball. He's not ripping his hips hard open. So it's simpler to control the club face from this angle. You don't have to rely on hands. You don't have to rely on the releasing of the hands to hit the ball. You can actually rely on the body to square the face, which is a lot more consistent. Bigger muscles squaring the face versus using the phalanges. Yeah. So here we go. This is Tiger's golden move here in the old days. He would turn his hips open as hard as he could, and he would get that club into that delivery slot. So you can actually see a really big difference here in positioning. The new Tiger has the club positioned behind the hands going into the ball. The same point here on the right, the old Tiger has the club in line with the hands. So the club actually has more power on the right side. Think of a football kicker kicking on an angle. The reason they're kicking on an angle is because it gives them more power, angular momentum. So Tiger on the right has more stored energy because he's got to cover more ground in the same amount of time as the player on the left. So it's almost like having a slingshot built into your golf swing. Tremendous amount of power kicking into the ball from an angle here. If you want to relate this to football, just think of the club face as the foot, and you're kicking that club face into the golf ball, that foot into the golf ball on an angle. So Saguto golfers, this isn't a question of which golfer is better in these. The swing on the right is easier to repeat because it doesn't rely on hand-eye coordination so much. Obviously, Tiger won more back in the day, but there are some other factors in there that we have to think about. When he got injured, that took him out of play for quite some time, and he still sees the effects from that injury. The moral of the story is, don't restrict your body, but rather allow your body to work the way it's designed. Free it up, and I guarantee you're going to feel less stress on your body, but at the same time pick up more distance and consistency because you won't have to rely on those things I talked about with lifting the arms, dropping the club, keeping the right leg flexed, shifting your weight. There's a lot of variables there. There's a lot less variables in the swing that I'm teaching you. And if you want to learn that golf swing, head over to my website, Saguto.golf. For $10 a month, you can be playing your best golf right now in a structured golf game learning program. Have a fantastic week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.